We have a smaller one upstairs for Christy's computer, and then we have a wide one down here for my workstation. Nope. 3 Scavenging Ooze is great. Scavenging Ooze is one of the best cards in Modern. It's quite fantastic. I think the Crucible is bad. It's a card that I haven't enjoyed in the past. The person that submitted this deck list had a what's it called? The stupid 2/3 that people like to play that's a Crucible on a green body. Yeah, Scavenging Ooze is quietly one of the best cards in this archetype. It's very, very good. I cut Raminap Excavator. That was the one card I cut from the main deck. It's correct, yes. It is main deckable Graveyard Hate, and it is quite excellent. Alright, so... do I take one of their 1-drops here? I actually don't have that many removal spells, but I do have creatures that can come up the board here. I kind of want to take Boros Charm, but another part of me just wants to take the Swift Spear away, because like next turn, they'd get to go Swift Spear, Spike, Attack. I'm going to 16, that would put me to 9. Yeah, the Swift Spear is already going to do 2 next turn. We are correct. Instantly punished for playing Dark Confidant. Instantly punished for playing Dark Confidant. No, this is a donation deck list. That was a very good draw for the opponent. Yeah, talk about... Look at that! We found a use for Dark Confidant, chat. Figured it out. Figured out this Dark Confidant card is great. It's fantastic. Fantastical. Figured it out. We did it. We did it. We did it. Hooray! Gobble, gobble. Hey, guess what? You know what card I replaced the stupid Raminap Excavator with? I put a second Collective Brutality in the main deck. This card's fucking insane. It is very good. This card is a big part of why you can play straight green-black instead of Jund, because it gives you reach without Lightning Bolt. Hey there, Oprek with the $10 donation. Chuck this onto the green-white scales deck. Excited to see you, Pilot. Thank you very much. There's 2 green-white scales deck in the queue, so which one is that for? There are currently 2 scales decks in my queue. What decks wants Dark Confidant? I don't think Dark Confidant is good in general. I don't think there's any decks in Modern that want to play Dark Confidant. The one nearest the top. Sounds great. Will do. Ooh, we found some candy, chat. We found some candy. Now, Tireless Tracker is going to pull on his big kid pants here. If I told you how much I love Sin Prodder, I might be getting Searing Blazed here, which is unfortunate. I think we're getting Searing Blazed. Fuck. There is a link to the deck list in the donation queue. You can type ! donation queue in chat to find that. Yeah, the Jund Rock deck will probably come up on the next Modern stream. It's actually going to be at the top of the queue after we finish all the decks today. Or the top of the Modern queue after we finish all the decks today. Oh, we flew too close to the sun. Thoughtseize was not our friend. We have some good tools for this matchup. So, if you missed the last time we played this viewer version of Black-Green, I actually really like Obstinate Baloth in the sideboard of this deck. Feels really powerful and consistent. Risky Bug with the 6-month resubscription. Half a year, I appreciate it. Welcome back. There was an Esper control list with Teferi that won a Modern Challenge on Magic Online shortly after Teferi was released. If deck lists are not in the queue, that means I haven't built them yet. That means somebody donated for me to build a deck or pick a variation of the deck, and I don't build them or pick a variation usually until the day before we play it. I don't know what is wrong with my ear. I think it's really bad versus burn. If what's the way to rephrase? Thoughtseize is acceptable versus burn if your sideboard is built so poorly that you can't afford to board it out. Thoughtseize is on average is going to be less bad than some of the other cards that you could play. Baloth I think is much better than Kitchen Finks because Baloth lines up better against that's really interesting. I just take this Grim Lavamancer? I think I just take the Grim Lavamancer, right? Baloth lines up better against Hollowed One. It also eats things in combat better. Liliana, yep, there's a lot of... Baloth is more flexible. I think Finks is more narrow. Reaching for Fulminator feels like a poor angle to interact. All right, look at that. So on my channel, if you want to give feedback and tell me I've done something wrong, you gotta be specific. You gotta say something like, this card seems like a poor angle to interact with because, and then tell me why you feel the way you do. You got it. The whys are important. This isn't like most Twitch streams where you just get to say whatever you want and not validate what it is or explain yourself. If you want to contribute to chat, you need to contribute, not just tell me I'm wrong. All right, so this is just brutality, discard plus, just like the 2-mode brutality here, right? Just like 10 out of 10, bin the swamp. And Jeskai, prop up. I think Baloth is actually better against Jeskai because Baloth you can't bolt, you have to bolt twice in the same turn, so it stretches their removal farther, it stretches their path to exiles more. I think Baloth is much better against that. And versus O-Stone decks, you're not bringing in Baloth or Kitchen Finks against fucking Tron. You're not, okay? Guess what cards aren't good against Tron? A 3-2 for 3. That's not your plan against Tron. That is not a good plan against Tron. Guess what? Remember that person I just timed out for saying Fulminator Mage wasn't worth bringing in? I agree that Fulminator Mage isn't great in this matchup, but I will say this. Sometimes it lets you steal games, and the card that Fulminator Mage could be instead also isn't going to be very good in this matchup. So let me test this out. Why is blue-red kill feed so low on the donation queue? Here's some more bits. Thanks, Kinklebiter. I appreciate it. Who are some of your favorite Magic players through the history of the game? I don't know. I don't really follow specific players. I don't really have a good answer to that. I think calling Fulminator Mage great in this matchup is definitely a stretch. I do think saying, hey, Fulminator Mage is like this passable card that we're going to play because it's like less bad than some of the other things we could be playing. I think that's a reasonable assessment. How do we beat Bridge? We have 2 copies of Abrupt Decay, we have 2 copies of Maelstrom Pulse, and I have 4 copies of Inquisition of Kozilek in my deck. So that's how you beat that card. Correct. Fulminator Mage is on average better than the card that it's replacing in my deck. And hey, remember when I shoved another basic forest in my deck before this league started? This is a great example of where having a second basic forest is just quite excellent. Like, we have these Field of Runes and stuff like that, so like just having access to not only a 6th basic, but another Greenland is very valuable in this deck, I think. Weird that they bolted me as opposed to floating white and then like Burrows Charming me here. I might have trimmed a pulse. No, I left the pulses in. Yeah. The bridge out of the Board of Burn has actually gotten pretty common, so I think it's definitely worth leaving that in. We have 2 creatures in graveyards right now, so I'm going to hit them with this first before I shrink it with the Scavenging Ooze, and then we're going to go ahead and jump Ooze up to a 4/4 so it can dodge Lightning Helix. What would you make changes to this deck if you were to bring it? You should look up my article here. I've written about this deck a lot. I've also streamed this deck a bunch. Any of the iterations of black-green that aren't playing Dark Confidant on my YouTube channel are the variations that I really like. So pop up my YouTube channel, scroll back on through. That's the best part about having an archive. When people are like, what would you do? It's like, I already did it. You can go look it up. All right, and they should be dead here now, right? Like, we're hitting them with this. Fuck, I shouldn't have auto passed there. I should have done this, because they're gonna get to double. They're gonna get to double tap one of my things here, potentially. No, they're just bolting me. Do they have a Path to Exile? Yeah, especially in conjunction with the fact that this deck has 4 Field of Ruin, the Fulminator Mages can definitely pressure our opponent off their white mana pretty consistently, which can occasionally win you games. Yeah, I already have my four Bridge Answers in my deck, plus these, so I think I'm fine here. Maybe I'm going to trim one of these. Maybe on the draw, I'm actually not going to have these in my deck. I think the fact that I know they have Bridge makes my discard more valuable. I think the fact that I know that they have Bridge makes my discard more valuable. They have magic cards. We should board in Surgical Extraction. Get him. Get him. Everyone's having a good Monday. Welcome, folks. We got over 700 people already. That's pretty awesome. Monday usually has pretty good numbers. We're gonna play 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 modern decks. If we have a good viewer count, we'll probably run long today. Fair warning to my regular viewers, I'm probably not going to be live tomorrow. Christy had to take off work today because both the kids are currently home sick, so we're gonna need to rotate. So if they're still sick through the end of the day, they're not gonna be able to go to daycare tomorrow either, so I'll have to take off to hang out with them so she can go to work. So to offset that, I might stream long today. Might run a little bit extra. Thanks everyone for hanging out. I appreciate the support. Yeah, people talk about Twitch chats getting unmanageable. They're really not that unmanageable if you just time out all the people that only post nonsense. Like Twitch chats, there's just so many Twitch chats that just like allow people to constantly spam nonsense because of the culture that Twitch kind of creates. And if you just like quash that like a bug, it's really easy to have reasonable conversations with larger amounts of people. All right, and this is the moment where you're like, is my Magic Online disconnected? Or is my opponent having an issue? Should I restart my client? Is it gonna go here in 3 seconds? When can we expect Immortal? I'm not sure. I don't like to make promises I can't keep, so. Hey, Savathor with the brand new tier 1 sub. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Welcome. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Look at the number of chats where people that have a lot of scrolling text, and then evaluate for yourself how many people are posting total nonsense with their chat messages. Well, Wizards doesn't time out people spewing nonsense. Wizards only times out people that are spewing borderline offensive stuff and actually offensive stuff. So their policy, they moderate their chat, but they moderate it in a different way than what we do here. Hopefully this Baloth can like pull this hand up by its bootstraps. Thanks, Savathor. Well, I appreciate you stepping up to that next level of support. Welcome. Huh. Can you give an example of what you mean by nonsense? Random emote spamming, random lulls when a player makes a mistake. It's like when I time people out for typing !punt a bunch in chat when I make a very obvious mistake. Like typing !punt doesn't contribute anything useful to what's going on here. Is it Bolt or Swift Spear? I think it's Swift Spear, right? The more I change it to match your list. Yeah, I think it's Swifty. There could be an appeal to taking the Searing Blaze, but we'll probably just not play the tracker on 3, especially since I have these. There might be an argument to saving one of these just because my opponent, hopefully this gives us a land here at some point. That's unfortunate. That's a Fatal Push too, which is just kind of annoying. We need 2 lands in our next 2 draws here. Probably gonna get Boros Charmed upstairs. Taking the Swift Spear saves more than 1 point of damage because my opponent would get prowess triggers and they'd get multiple attacks with it. All right, guys, let's not spam nonsense stuff here. Let's not do that. Come at me, bro. Yeah. Do I decay or do I push here? I think I push, even though it's less efficient because they know about it. They have Searing Blaze and Bolt here, so I know I'm taking something with this. Might just brick off and die here. And again, like, one of the things that's different between this configuration and the configuration of black-green that I've been playing consistently is I really think that you should be playing 25 lands in this archetype. I think that's a big deal. I'm actually going to take the Bolt here because the Searing Blaze they can't cast till they have a target, so we just won't give them a target to Baloth. Yeah, I'm just not going to play the tracker. They didn't attack, Brian. I pushed during the second main phase. Please pay attention. If you're gonna critique my play, please pay attention. Yeah, and basically what it comes down to is that, like, you're gonna lose way more games to Screw than you're gonna lose to Flood with a deck like this, in my experience. So you should always hedge against Screw by playing slightly more lands. If you feel like your deck has too many lands in it, the solution isn't play fewer lands. The solution is play more utility lands, so that way when you do Flood, you have a little bit more going on. I'm gonna hold up on the Tireless Tracker still here because I want to be able to get at least a clue out of it. Hi, wife.
I'm making this for myself, but I know you don't like this one. Do you want one of these?
Make regular cheese. Maybe they could delete some. Tracker does like when you Flood. That is definitely true. So do I play this into Searing Blaze here? I think I do. I think I want to just propel myself into more Baloths and more Collective Brutalities and drawing some cards that allows me to do that. I could definitely die on their untap here playing this Tireless Tracker, but, like, if I was going to die on their untap having played the Tireless Tracker, I was going to die on their untap anyways because they could just blaze the Baloth. You should call a judge every time. If you missed the conversation earlier, here's the cheat sheet for when you should call a judge. If you're not sure if you should call a judge, you should call a judge. That's a great cheat sheet. Deal. Enjoy your Ensnaring Bridge. Man, I'm really glad this Ensnaring Bridge isn't a card that killed me, and instead just gets Maelstrom Pulsed. That makes me happy. I'm gonna play this out because attacking with it next turn is that lethal, actually? Yeah, it's going to be, right? I have a Fatal Push up here. There's a good chance if that card had just dealt damage to me, I'd be dead right now. I could push Tracker in response to Searing Blaze, but it would not have the outcome that I was looking for. Not only did I not have Revolt, but Searing Blaze not only targets the creature, but it targets the player as well, which means that removing the creature target doesn't stop it from dealing damage to me. Magic is a game that's intuitive and easy to understand. Alright, and then they should be dead here unless they have Path to Exile, right? Because I get to Inquisition this in case it's a 3 damage spell, and then I fire up this. I guess they could have Lightning Helix. They can have they need Lightning Helix or Path here, right? Otherwise, this Treetop Village is lethal. Doesn't look like Lightning Helix. Deal. All right, you're dead. Helix is enough, right? They'd go to 8, and I'd only have 7 damage. So Helix prevents them from dying and gives them redraws. All right, sweet. 1-0 with Black Green Rock. We're waiting for the second match to pop. I'd just like to say good morning, afternoon, and good night to everybody, wherever you're at in the world. My name is Jeff Hoagland. Thanks for dropping by my Twitch stream today. I stream Magic the Gathering full-time here on Twitch. We stream a ton of Modern. I also play Vintage and Legacy on occasion, as well as games like Hex and Hearthstone. If you're enjoying my stuff and can't always catch me live, be sure to check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Jeff Hoagland, and 100% of my streams get archived there. If you're enjoying my content and want to help me keep making content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. My subscribers are a big part of why I'm able to stream full-time like I do. You can also check out some of my wonderful sponsors. MTGOtraders.com will love to buy and sell some Magic Online cards with you. And if you use code Hoagland PayPal at checkout with them, you'll save 8% on your singles orders there. CoolStuffInc.com buys and sells a lot of cool stuff, including TCG singles. Using promo code Jeff5, you can save 5% on Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh cards with them. InkedGaming.com would love to help you customize your gaming experience. Using code Jeff12, you can save 12% on custom playmats, mouse pads, binders, and bags there. And of course, myself and the wonderful moderator staff. I'd like to welcome everyone to Hoaglandia. Please talk to your friendly neighborhood moderator about receiving your complimentary timeout. At any rate, we're heading on into the second match here with Black-Green Zrock. I like the core of this archetype a lot. I'm not a huge fan of Dark Confidant in this list specifically. But again, this is a viewer-submitted deck list, so we're playing their deck list almost card for card. I made a couple of minor changes, but by and large, these are cards that my opponent sent in. Or that a viewer sent in. Pretty easy mulligan here. Red-green Ponza is currently on the no-fly list. No-fly. If you want me to make me play a deck on the no-fly list, it's a minimum of a $50 donation. Decks that are on the no-fly list are decks that I don't find particularly interesting or engaging to play. I don't think they generate particularly great gameplay. Easy mulligan here. For people that are interested in the configuration of black-green that I've explicitly worked on, you can check out my article on Gathering Magic from a couple weeks back. It's a perfect land to put on top. Karn felt okay. I don't have to talk about it. You can read this article right here. And if you have any specific questions after reading that article, feel free to come in and ask. Feel free to come back and ask. Yeah, that's exactly correct. If you want me to do something that I don't enjoy, you gotta pay me like it's a real job. This card is so fucking miserable. Yep, blue-white control, especially with the addition of Teferi, is a bad matchup for this deck. But I also think blue-white control is not a very good deck in general. And I think Jeskai control is a better matchup than blue-white. Jeskai control is the more popular. I'm pretty sure it's the Goblin Lore. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I want to take the Goblin Lore. We have to risk losing stuff to Burning Inquiry here, but like Burning Inquiry is card disadvantage for the opponent. So I think that's the right take there. If there was ever a reason to ban a card in Modern not on power level, but quality of gameplay, Burning Inquiry is a close second to Urza's Tower. Look at that. We discarded 2 lands. What an interesting and engaging game of Magic the Gathering. Guess what, chat? This is my Hearthstone is lower variance than Magic portion of the stream. I love that there are Magic players that will stand up and look you in the face and complain about the variance that Hearthstone has while this is a tier 1 deck in Modern. It's so obnoxious. It's okay to say you don't enjoy Hearthstone's gameplay, but to write off Hearthstone's gameplay as variance-powered gameplay, and then like while this is going on, it's just like, you know, pot, meat kettle. Pot, meat kettle, get your own house in order before you complain about what Hearthstone is doing. At least we don't have to play against Stoneforge, Mystic. At least we don't have to play against Stoneforge, Mystic. Have you considered discarding better, right? I think if you think Hearthstone has more variance than Magic on average, you're either unrealistic, don't understand how to measure variance, or haven't played enough Hearthstone. Hearthstone is extremely low variance compared to most Magic formats. Not only because of the way Hearthstone's resource system works, but also because of how the resource system and how that works. And I'm mumbling on my words at this point, but if having played, and the power level of cards and how you interact with players in Hearthstone reduces the variance of the game by a lot. Oh look, I drew 3 more cards and still haven't drawn more lands after they made me discard 2. Then why don't I stream Hearthstone only? Because my goal isn't to play a low variance game. Like Magic is fun. I play Magic because Magic is amusing and I enjoy playing it. But like, I'm just saying be realistic about what the game is. That's all I'm saying. That's the point of that. My point of that, to say that, isn't to say that Magic is bad. My point is to say that saying that Hearthstone has more variance than Magic is disingenuous because it's by and large not true. Yes, that is exactly that. What Character Land said is there are RNG elements in the game, but good players can give themselves edges while playing it. And again, like, coming back to Modern again, just to hammer on Modern, I don't know how you can say Hearthstone has a high variance meta and then come back and play Modern, right? Like, it's by and large no different than what goes on here. By and large no different than what goes on here in this format. I think this is how I want to board. Like, and again, I would believe that Hearthstone's past formats have had cards that generated higher variance, but like judging Hearthstone's current format on the past formats is like saying, well, Magic sucks because Combo Winter happened in 1997. That's what it's like, right? Like judging a game in its current state based on its past state is just silly and ridiculous. Our pigs did get a 5-0 Morosith. We dropped a game in the last match, but we did 5-0. This is not my deck list, Firespoon. This is a viewer-submitted deck list. I think this hand is fine. On the play, we get to break them up, and then maybe the Lilianas could be okay. Yeah, I think a big part of it is what you just said there, Looked at Numbers. And I think another part of it is that Magic players are just so insulated by the variance that occurs in Magic. Like, go watch the Pro Tour and watch how many games, like, resulted in a player having no lands or flooding out and dying. Just, like, the same things happening constantly back and forth. I have no idea if Hex is fun to free to play. I don't find any games fun free to play, so I don't free to play any games. I'm an adult with a job. I would rather give a company my money rather than play bad decks. I don't think that's true. Like, we just came off of standard formats where Aetherworks Marvel was so good and so popular they fucking banned it. We just came off of standard. Whoa. All right, let's talk about this surgical extraction and how it's God's greatest gift. And we came off of a standard format before that where they had where Collected Company was one of the better cards in the format. Like Magic, the cards don't say random on them, but they are very fucking random and they are generally powerful. You didn't need those cards, did you? You're just making sure. I mean, well, I haven't played Wild, so I don't have a good comparison. And to be fair, I think it's fair to compare Hearthstone's current standard format to Modern, because Magic's current standard format is kind of fucking rancid. Like, it's been very narrow for a very long time, and Hearthstone's current standard format has a huge variety of decks in it, very similar to the huge variety of decks that you find in Modern. So comparing a format with a wide variety of decks that has matchup variance in it to a Magic format that has a wide variety of decks and has matchup variance to it, I think that's a fair comparison. And again, if you like Hearthstone or if you like Magic, it's okay to like the other one too. Games are fun. It's okay to enjoy a variety of different games. I feel like there are some people that feel like you're only allowed to enjoy one card game, and like lots of card games do lots of things differently, and some do some things better and worse than others. And it's okay to like different ones for different reasons. I should have screenshotted their hand. I forgot to screenshot their hand. I think they had a blood gas, so I don't really want to plus this. What did you think about the variants last Pro Tour with so many players having copies of Goblin Chainwhirler? I found the last Pro Tour fairly boring to play, fairly boring to watch. I'm not like, I actually watched a lot of the Pro Tour looking for a reason to get engaged in Standard, because I like giving things a chance, a fair shake. I like looking for a reason to play more sweet TCG games, and the Standard Pro Tour that I watched didn't feel like it encouraged me to play sweet TCG games. I didn't feel particularly engaged. I didn't feel compelled that like I could work outside the box and find something interesting. There were a bunch of you know why the Pro Tour is all aggro? People make comments like that a lot, Seth, and I think it's just they don't understand. The Pro Tour was all aggro because the aggro decks are the fucking best decks. That's why the Pro Tour was all aggro. The Pro Tour was aggro because the aggro decks are fucking good, and the people that showed up to the Pro Tour, they wanted to win. It's like when people talk about their pet decks in Modern, they're like, this deck just isn't very popular because it's hard to play or people don't know about it. It's like, well, your tier 4 deck is probably tier 4 because it's not very good. If it was better, more people would be playing it. I think people just want, I think 4 to 6 decks is kind of a sweet spot for Standard. In my opinion, I think that puts Standard in probably the best position. I think expecting there to be a small selection, I don't expect a format with as few sets as Standard. I don't think playing a format with as few sets of Standard and expecting it to have as many decks as Modern is reasonable, but I do think expecting there to be a small variety of decks that can be consistent, and like some other decks, like I think the people that talk about solved Standard being automatically bad, I think those people are unreasonable. I think Standard is a format that's going to get solved, and I think that a format being solved doesn't automatically make that format bad. Solved formats can be good formats. You can enjoy a format and it can generate good gameplay with all the known decks that are good, with having all the good decks be known. I mean, are we at 3 real decks? Like, what was the conversion? The conversion rate on the red decks was just kind of insane, right? Man, I wonder if they don't have a land. If they don't have a land and they can't bring these Bloodghast back, we're going to be in a very good spot. If they can bring these Bloodghast back, we might be in a little bit of a medium spot. I think I think for starters, I didn't try and innovate with the blue-red prison deck very much. I by and large played deck lists that other people had been successful playing. So the reason why I didn't really have a lot of innovation there is because I wasn't trying to innovate. And once I played the deck more, I didn't feel like I wanted to innovate it because it wasn't a deck that I enjoyed playing. We're just going to get to crack a fetch land here. We're kind of just going to flood out and die. Again, going back to the Magic having less variance than Hearthstone. Modern would have to be far more fair for green-white creature-based combo decks to be reasonable in the format. There's too many degenerate things that they can't interact with quickly. Where were the mono black decks? What were the mono black decks conversion rates like? Like, you can talk about it till you're blue in the face, but how did their team actually do, Greeny T? I actually don't know the answer to that question. I'm genuinely asking. How did Edel and his team do? Were they successful over the weekend, or did they fall flat? It did piss poor. Okay, so probably not a good assessment. So again, like, when I'm asking you about conversion rates, extras, red-black didn't just do well in the Pro Tour top 8. It had insane conversion rates into the decks that did well totally over the weekend. Squee, Goblin Nabob, stopping by to re-up my fun bucks. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. Because I want this Liliana the Veil to maybe kill this Flameblade Adept at some point. Like, if I cast the Liliana the Veil here, I couldn't block with my Hissing Quagmire, and I'd rather trade in a Hissing Quagmire for one of these Bloodghasts, I think, rather than kill my Liliana the Veil, because, like, they had the fetch land in play. So if I play Liliana the Veil and edict them, they just get the other Bloodghast back anyways, and nothing was accomplished. So actually playing this and minusing it was exceedingly bad, because they were going to get back this other Bloodghast anyways. They must have a bolt here. They must have a bolt here, because they only attacked one of these at Last Hope. If they don't have a bolt, we're in a pretty amazing spot. And by amazing, I mean passable. Yeah, they have a bolt. Okay. 1 mana short of being able to activate this. Hey, if we draw a Tracker, we could be okay. Tracker, Baloth, Damnation. Could you have Field of Runes before the uptick to prevent it from coming back at end of turn? Oh, that's a good line. I put myself down a land to do that. No, I don't think that's good enough. I don't think that's good enough. I think putting myself down a land and my Liliana's gonna die anyways isn't worth delaying a Bloodghast for a turn. I didn't think about that line, and it's an interesting line, but after thinking about it, I don't think it's very good. I really don't want a Field of Rune. I really don't need more colors of mana right now, and holding my Field of Runes till after I potentially draw a Tireless Tracker is valuable. Alright, so they're out of cards in hand. They have this Faithless Looting. I'm going to fetch a basic forest here, so if we draw Scavenging Ooze, we have more of that. They're out of cards in hand, which means if I edict away one of these Bloodghasts, they might not be able to bring it back last turn. I do go down a land because my opponent will crack their fetch land in response to me Field of Runing it, and my Field of Rune will be countered upon resolution. If you're gonna tell me I'm wrong, don't be wrong yourself. Four out of 9 players. What does converted mean? What does converted mean? 4 out of 9 is a real low number for starters, but what does converted mean? No, I don't think so. Made day 2, and then how many of them finished 7-3 or better or whatnot? 6-4 or better? Finding that it is quite easy for black-green rock if the opponent has no Turbo Vial, or else it's a hard matchup. Are you talking about humans? In my experience, the humans matchup is very good post-board, and it can be kind of tough game 1, especially if you draw a lot of your wrong half cards. Yeah, Marvel's probably fine in this current format, right? Can you, okay, use your words. Be an adult. Tell me how standard being in the PT messes, or draft being in the PT messes with the standard numbers. Like how does that work? In what way does only looking at the final standard records be affected by draft? No, I think guaranteeing taking the 5-5 off the table is most valuable because the 5-5 is harder to deal with for the rest of my deck. What's going on, Camwell? Happy Monday. It does mess with conversion rates a small bit. That's all it does. But again, like, it's the best data we have, so we have to work with it. You are never guaranteed to slam dunk anything with an archetype like this. That was a good draw, so we can avoid getting Blood Moons here. Just gonna get Stone Rained instead. Yeah, the next Pro Tour will be worth watching. The next Pro Tour is team constructed. Hopefully they don't focus on standard too much. Okay, but here's the other thing. If you 0-3 the draft, you can 4-1 construct it and still day 2. So like good standard players can fail the draft completely and still day 2 the Pro Tour. Just for reference. Fetch Overgrown Tomb here. Red-green Balakut. This build probably doesn't have a very good Tron matchup. I guess it has 4 Fulminators. I don't know. It's tough because Fulminator is slow. The build of black-green that I've been working on, I play 2 copies of Damping Sphere on top of some Fulminators. But the red-green Balakut matchup is just basically unwinnable for this archetype. You just don't have enough pressure or meaningful disruption. Alright, so they have Inferno Titan that they get to play this turn. So the reason why I played the Tarmogoyf rather than the Dark Confidant is the Tarmogoyf isn't going to die to this Inferno Titan trigger. Next turn we get to go land Maelstrom Pulse the Stork. Smack you for 4. Yeah, I'm actually playing a team constructed 5K in Chicago this weekend, and I'll be sitting in the modern seat for that tournament. I think I'm playing Jeskai Ascendancy. That's pretty good. It's not bad. Only one player. Yeah, the mono black control deck's probably not very good. Probably not very good. You do have to top 8. That's why I'm not talking about top 8 Sound of Truth. I'm talking about, I didn't ask who top 8'd, because top 8ing, you're right, is skewed by drafting. What I asked was how many of them 6 forward or better. I do sometimes end up in the, I've played a lot of Legacy, so you have to play Legacy seat. My teammates are playing to win, so I'm assuming 4-color control in Legacy, or Delver, and then probably red-black in Standard. I don't know, I'm just trusting them to do their thing. So, I could Fatal Push this Pia. I think I'd rather Goyf Bob this turn, though. The bolt killing Bob there, I think, is a misassessment of my opponent's role. I think they probably should be trying to burn me out at this point, but maybe they just think they can't. My teammates understand that Modern, by and large, has a lot of matchup variance in it, and that even if you show up with a very good deck, a lot of the time you're not going to have much control over what's going on. So they're letting me play a sweet deck. I think that deck is both good and interesting. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to push this Pia. I'm going to crack them for 10. They have no cards in hand. And it's like, this is a really good example of, like, someone asked earlier about Ponza, why Ponza's on the no-fly list. This deck is just rancid. Like, there's plenty of games where, like, my deck's even a pretty good matchup for them. They were on the play. They did exactly what they wanted to do. They went Stone Rain, Inferno Titan, and we're just fucking killing them. Like, this matchup isn't great for the black-green deck, but sometimes you just lose. Am I going to practice on stream? I might do one league on stream this week, but I played the deck enough recently. That I think it's fine. I don't think I really need to practice too much. I've got a lot of reps in with it. It's hard to justify skipping donation decks because there's so many donation decks. My favorite part about playing tier 4 decks on stream or playing against tier 4 decks on stream are the armchair experts in chat that let you know that it only doesn't look good because they're playing the bad version of the tier 4 deck. The good version of the tier 4 deck is very good. It's the opponent that's wrong. It's not the archetype. Is this a Baloth matchup? There aren't any dealer's choices in the queue currently. There's an article right there talking about why black-green is better than Jund. Oh yeah, Crucible's great, right? Cast down seems fine. Kills Titan. Ponza deck that, like many modern decks, occasionally just gets people. No, I had someone donate for 3 leagues with Bob. This is the last league we'll be playing Bob in. I probably won't accept Dark Confidant green-black decks as donation decks again. I really don't think it's good. It does by and large get by on Lucky Blood Moon wins. That is definitely the case. Do I want explosives? Explosives always feels narrow in this matchup. By the time you explosives to kill their mana cards, they like already have used the mana for them, so it's just like not meaningful anymore. And this engineered explosive, I guess EE can technically kill Blood Moon in this matchup because they give us red mana. I guess that's a thing. Veil's pretty miserable. They have a lot of crap creatures. Honestly, maybe this Baloth's better than the Lay on the Veil. I think I'd buy that for $1. Pushing up on their hand is kind of okay, but I think by and large it's not very good. Matt Matic with the 3-month resubscription. Thanks for a quarter of a year. Welcome back. I do appreciate that. I agree. The lack of Deathrite Shamans is a strong, strong misbuild. Sand seems pretty good. We get to push a Dork into Bob, into Trekker. Relic, sure. When Goyf's got you down. Oh, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have played. Well, I guess I'm going to play. I probably should have let on these two, right? So that way I didn't expose my green source to Stone Rain. I haven't played Standard, so I don't have an opinion on whether or not I think they should change things in Standard. Unlike a lot of people on the internet, I don't try to present opinions on things that I'm not informed about. And the world would be a better place if you also did the same. So, you know, just like maybe lay off and be like, well, we should wait and see. Am I supposed to play this Thoughtseize here? Because like next turn's the first turn they could have a threat. I think Kalitas is a great card, and my build of black-green plays Kalitas. Perfect. Take your only threat, go. No, I think a lot of people think the Delirium cards are more free in black-green than they are, so I'm not a big fan of playing the Delirium cards in this archetype by and large. I think people already want to do things like board in Graveyard Hate against your deck because of Tarmogoyf, so like exposing your Delirium cards to that is a bad plan. Ooh, automatic. I accidentally pressed my hotkey, undid it there quickly. Do I want to play Bob here into their Bolt? I don't think I want a Maelstrom Pulse Utopia Sprawl, because I'd rather just pulse whatever threat they eventually play. Because, like, my opponent has a lot of mana in their deck, so using my resources to attack their mana, I think, is a bad use of them. They might Bolt the Goyf, actually. That's fair. It might have been right to play the Goyf as a bait. Because, like, with the health total I'm at, I kind of would rather have the Bob. Land. Play 25 lands in your black-green decks, kids. Don't be like this deck. Play 25 lands. I don't have Revolt currently. Let's draw a fetch land. Fetch land. Ayo! I will say the Urborg's been kind of okay in this deck. The Urborg's been like Dece plus. That forest is better than Bayou. It doesn't get wastelanded. Blurred Bread into Arbor Elf. It's good quality stuff there. No blocks. Crack this. Trigger Revolt. The fact that the clues trigger Revolt is so good. It's so good. I'm gonna get this out of bolt range here. Start the beatdowns. And like, even if they have like an Inferno Titan here, we have Maelstrom Pulse and we have Obstinate Baloth to buffer health total against more aggressive cards. So in a pretty good spot here. What's this? They have 7 mana. Well, that's a magic card. God bless Tireless Tracker, just like grinding quietly through this Bizwitch. I think I'm going to swing the tracker into the queen next turn if we miss on removal for it. We really don't have that much removal for it. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and play this other tracker out and then get 2 clues here. And I'm just going to go ahead. Did you bring me lunch, buddy?
Pizza.
You brought me pizza? You're a good helper.
Mommy made it.
Mommy made the pizza? You want to say hi to the internet before you go back upstairs? Can you say hi, internet?
Hi.
For those that are new, this is Declan. He's my youngest. He's home sick today. Are you feeling any better?
The sick's gone.
The sick is gone. I hope so soon. Love you, buddy. Hey, go back upstairs with mommy. Good listening, bud. Thank you for lunch. All right. Hey, we're 2-1. Thanks, son. Slow and steady. I'm going to mute myself while I eat some pizza here really quick. Thanks for hanging out, folks. Behave, Justin. So yeah, I do agree that 4 fetch is kind of light. Usually I like 5 to 6 fetches with I like 5 to 6 fetches with Tireless Tracker. But again, this is a viewer submitted deck list. Field of Runes is like a pseudo fetch, so we're not strictly off of them, but well, now that I dropped a slice of pizza because I'm a giant man-child. I don't know where my garbage can went. Ugh. Alright, so next turn we'll go field, tag the steam vent, change phases because they're going to float mana, cast probably Inquisition. I'm definitely enough of a klutz that drop food could be a real square. I wonder if they don't have a mountain. Some of these Jeskai decks are really greedy and don't play mountain. They could also just like want more blue because they have Cryptic Command in hand. Yo, Jeff, it's supposed to go into your mouth, not on the floor. It's going out, Bob. Thanks for the big resub there. I appreciate it. Let me know what you'd like to throw in the queue. Any game, dealer's choice, or bump something that's already in there. I just have another red source in hand. Sounds good, ranting Bob. Will do. I might put that towards Ascendancy because I'm playing it this weekend. Where I just mentioned I didn't have any dealer's choice ones left. Thanks for the support, Bob. The deck is sweet, Drin. Is it just Serum Visions here? It might be the Electrolyze. Like, they both cantrip. I think I'm going to take the Electrolyze. Electrolyze lets them pressure my Planeswalker. So I can just, like, get Liliana the Last Hope going. I think decks like Value Town are really bad in Modern. I think they're clunky and slow and don't really have efficient interaction. These are some of the most efficient pieces of interaction in Modern that you generally want to be playing. I understand why so many people ask about the Value Town deck. Like, the Value Town deck is the type of Magic that a lot of people really want to be playing. It's like grinding, you get to draw a lot of cards. It's kind of sad that it's not very good in Modern. Like a Snapcaster Mage. I use OBS. OBS is kind of the industry standard. It's also the only fully cross-platform streaming software. It's the only one that runs natively on Linux that I'm aware of. But it runs on OS X and Windows as well. In my experience, saying a deck is difficult to play well is code for this deck is bad. In all of my experience playing lots of Magic, 9 times out of 10, whenever somebody says this deck is difficult to play, what they actually mean is this deck is bad, so you have... They mean this deck is bad, so you have to play it well to get every percentage point out of the deck, because the deck's not good enough to carry you. Yeah, they definitely meant to, like, snap back a bolt there, probably, right? Yeah, I agree. It's a neat deck doing neat things. So we'll Thoughtseize them, just in case they drew a Cryptic or a Leak or something. And then we'll play this last hope. I'm gonna leave them the path. I said 9 out of 10. I said 9 out of 10. I didn't say every deck. I tend to shy away from using ultimatum style statements for a reason. They had a red mana floating, chat. They had a red mana floating. Was that a good draw? Seems like a good fucking draw. All right, so we get to take the path, and I get to fire up this Treetop Village and slam into Teferi here. So I need 2 bricks out of them for the Treetop to be able to finish this off next turn, which is ideal. It would be ideal for us, but 2 bricks is a lot to ask. They have a lot of action in their deck. To answer the question in chat from a second ago, this is not my deck list. My deck list plays 25 lands for situations exactly like this, where you just want to hit your fucking land drops. You just really want to hit your land drops. It's really unfortunate. All right, so we got these. We got these. I don't think this is a surgical matchup. Fatal Push is an easy out. Abrupt Decay is a pretty easy out. I always kind of waffle back and forth on Brutality this matchup. The fact that it misses Planeswalkers and costs 2 mana is a pretty big deal. I don't actually think it's good enough. I'm gonna board those out. Let's go with this. I think I like this plan. The 5 in Teferi's corner is kind of a lie. The 5 is really a 3. Teferi, the best way I heard someone put it was Teferi's like Sarah Avenger. Teferi's a 3-mana card, but it has the rules text. You can't play this till turn 5. That's the difference. 3K unread email. Good lord. Have fun waffling through that. That's gross. We have 4 copies of Field of Ruin, and I'm boarding in 4 copies of Fulminator Mage. Leaving an Abrupt Decay to tag Search for Azcanta is very bad. Stingy with the brand new Twitch Prime support. Thank you very much for that. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great content on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting my stuff this month with that. Well, this is a very easy take Celestial Purge, so I'm Confidant on you. I'm not a fan of Confidant in general, but there are definitely games that he can run away with. And this game is definitely in a position to run away with that if they don't find another piece of removal. Your opponent has priority with their Planeswalker as soon as they play it. As soon as they put it into play. Someone asked about Obstinate Baloth in this matchup. The reasons you stated are exactly on the head. It's just another threat. We're the aggressor in this matchup. Having more threats that demand my opponent either have double bolt or Path to Exile increases our threat density and allows us to pressure the opponent well. Also, especially against Jeskai control, the Jeskai player will occasionally be able to burn us out, basically. So having a card like Baloth that buffers our health total means we're very unlikely to get burned out during the match or during the game. Yeah, questions are great. Thanks for the good question, and thank you for putting a little bit of thought into the question yourself. That's good. That's what I like to see here. I like to see people that try and find the answers themselves. I'm happy to guide. That's what a teacher should do. They should guide. They shouldn't provide all of the answer. I want you to think about what you're asking and why. And that was really good. All right. So either their cat knocked over their keyboard, or they're debating on whether or not they should fetch Shock and then Serum Visions, or hold up. Well, they're not holding up Logic Knot, which means if we hit a land in our 2 cards here, we could just hit this Fulminator Mage and like Stone Rain them back put them back into the Stone Age. I think Baloth, no, Bobs are not in against Burn Post board. No, Bobs are not in against Burn Post board. Stop it. 2 shots to the land. Ew. How you feel about Stone Rain, opponent? Never forget, memorization is the lowest form of learning. The Crucibles, by and large, are to pressure our opponent's color with Field of Ruin, which is nice. This matchup is actually one of the reasons to have some Fulminator Mages in your sideboard instead of just Damping Spheres, because while Damping Sphere tends to be better against Tron, Fulminator Mage is very reasonable against blue-white control for pressuring them like this. Oh, I did swap that. I cut the Treetop Village. It's -1 Treetop +1 Forest. You should just play 25 lands and play 2 Treetops and 2 Forests. Is what I would do, what I would recommend. Psyche Pump, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime support. Welcome, I appreciate that. I think this is just Crucible, fetch a swamp, cast Inquisition. Magic Online is what's wrong with that Helix for reference. Yeah, we're definitely going to fetch Tomb here. I'm playing Amulet Titan, and it's fun. Yeah. I think Amulet Titan's a great deck. I think Toolbox decks are a lot of fun in Modern. I think Amulet Titan is probably one of the more competitive Toolbox decks in Modern right now. That's an old meme. That one annoys me. We don't just play bad decks on this stream. We play a variety of decks. Some of them are bad, but a lot of them are just different. Amulet Titan is like a value deck that's actually good because it's able to have a combo kill. Big Mama Emrakul. I have earbuds and I have to find dirty clothes to do laundry, but Jeff playing in the background is always good. Thanks for the support. So they have Cryptic plus Teferi here. This is a pretty easy Liliana to Goyf, right? The Fulminator Mages are even better in this matchup now that they play 5-mana Planeswalkers too. Feels very reasonable keeping them off of those lands. I brought in Crucible so we could hit land drops. I wouldn't have made my 4th, 5th, and 6th land drop this game without the Crucible. We're also going to be able to Field of Ruin them a bunch, which is good. Having a lot of mana in order to do lots of plays in a single turn is very good, very important in matchups like this a lot of the time. Did they put cards on top? They put 2 cards on top of their deck. So I want to Field of Ruin them just because they put 2 cards on top of their deck, right? Yeah, I'm just gonna field them off this Glacial because they double topped there. I'm gonna fetch basic, or I'm gonna fetch Shock here, so I leave extra basics in my deck because this Field of Ruin is gonna demand I have basics in my deck. I don't know. I guess they could hit like land sweeper and then they only have to beat the Liliana. And like, I think force shuffling them when they top's a little aggressive normally, especially when they have creature lands. But like, the fact that I have a Crucible means that I'm going to do that. This is a donation deck. This is not my configuration of green black. The Baloths are really good though. I would play this card in the configuration of green black that I was working on moving forward, I think. And I'm not going to field aggressively now because they almost certainly have another basic in their deck. Although I guess I could potentially keep them off of white-white. I could potentially have kept them off of white-white, so maybe I'm supposed to field. I don't know. I don't know. Not sure, Isabus. I'd have to sit down and look at it. Oh. Wednesday or Thursday, we're probably going to play some Jund with 4 Tireless Tracker. I'm actually looking forward to trying Jund with 4 Tracker in it. Archetype seems really good. I mean, obviously we do it post-combat, but... We did break 1,000. Welcome, everyone. Hope everyone's having a good Monday. Thanks for hanging out here today. I've been streaming for about 3 hours, which means we got about 4 or 5 more hours before I wrap up today. This is match 4 with this deck. This is match 4 with this deck. After we wrap up with the black-green mid-range deck, we're gonna get a Jeskai tokens deck, and then a Shadow aggro deck, and then something called Dice Factory that someone submitted. So we'll fumble and bumble around with all of those before we're done today for sure. And then depending on how the crowd is, how many people are sticking around, we might do more than 3 more decks. See how the kids are behaving for my wife. Both my kids are homesick from daycare today, so it's been a tough weekend. Speaking of things that are tough, RAM check. We are nearing 2 gigs of RAM, so probably want to reboot after this match. Reboot modo. Pretty easy mulligan there. Sand's very good. Turn 1 discard spell, turn 2 bub. I think 8 Rack's a pretty miserable Magic deck. Not a fan. I think I'm actually going to bottom this. I think I just want like my things that generate value here. What's going on, Jet? This is early for you too. It's not even 10 o'clock up till 4 a.m. That's a tough night. Mulligan to 5, play an Inquisition. I love kicking them while they're down. They must have known what their top card was there, right? They must have scried top. I could look, but that sounds like... Well, bottoming Tarmogoyf now looking... Instant regret for having bottomed Tarmogoyf. Just drawing mono lands. I'm getting logic knotted. Good news, their hand is double cryptic currently. Let's get this pretty lady ticking up here. I think Modern doesn't have enough fair decks in it to play a deck that's well positioned against fair decks and have it be good. I think Modern has a lot of variety in it. I think Chalice of the Void is exceptionally bad in Modern, which makes Prison decks pretty rancid. That guy, yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thought I thoroughly enjoyed the Legacy decks as well. Yeah, this Lily's about to kick them all they're down. And I'm plussing before I cast a spell here, because I don't want them to know if they're losing a land when they decide on this discard, because they might, yeah, they chose to keep the Cryptic Command, hoping to draw a 4th land next turn, and now we just get to, like, Stone Rain them into oblivion. Yeah, but the blue-red Prison deck isn't good because of Chalice, right? It's good because of, like, other things. I guess I shouldn't attack with the Quagmire here, not because I don't want to lose it, but because I don't want them to flash in Snapcaster Mage. Yeah, it's good because of Ensnaring Bridge +4. 10 out of 10 agree. I'm not going to cash this in for just a single Stone Rain here, so I'm going to push her to 7 for sure. Also, like, every time I make them discard and I don't have to discard a card, she's just, like, strict card advantage, right? That's awesome. We actually just had someone donate to a Possibility Storm back in the queue. That deck felt really good. Am I just going to keep pushing Liliana here? I feel like I am. I feel like until they hit more lands... I'm just gonna keep pressuring. Oh, I tapped my lands wrong. At this point, I should have attacked with the Treetop Village this turn, probably. Arguably the best Planeswalker in Magic, right? I think Mardu Pyromancer is probably more consistent, but I also think it generally lacks the clock, so I like it. I like it a lot less than the black-green decks. I think Tarmogoyf is a great Magic card. This article here, Aaron. This article here. So do I just alt and then play another Liliana? Right? I just alt this and then cast the next one. Alt my Planeswalker starter to you. All right, we're 3-1 with Black Green, on par to be a 3-2 deck in Modern. Thanks everyone for hanging out. If you're enjoying my stuff, please consider subscribing to my channel. My subscribers are a big part of why I'm able to stream full-time here like I do. You can also support myself by checking out some of my wonderful sponsors. Cardsteer.com will help you turn some of your Magic cards into other cards or cash directly with other players. There's no haggling, they just take 1% fee off the top. Mac Weldon provides premium men's clothing. Using code Jeff Hoagland at bit.ly/HoogleClothes, you save 20% on your order of premium shirts, shorts, polos, underwear, all sorts of great stuff there. And of course, I do need to restart Magic Online. Thank you for the reminder. This stream wouldn't be possible without viewers like Anironix, Justin, Nivik, and you. Thanks everyone for watching. There's a lot of different things you could be doing on a Monday, and I appreciate you choosing to spend part of your time here. We're just giving Moto the old re-kick here real quick while we wait before we pop on into the last match. Yeah, the cards being weird like that are Moto bugs. That is correct. I do have a GitHub profile. I am just Jeff Hoagland everywhere. You can find all the Linux and Python stuff that I do on GitHub. Baloth doesn't work with your own Liliana. Does not. And good morning, Anironix. Afternoon. It's afternoon by you, right? You're East Coast, I believe, if I recall. Oh. How much does Moto use after restart? That's a good question. I think it's about 700 usually. 780. Yeah, so once it about triples from where it's at. You know what we should do? I should window capture my task manager and just have like a RAM counter in the corner so people can watch the memory grow as it uses more. This is a pretty easy mulligan, right? It's not enough resources. Seems great. I'm gonna bottom that. Bob will draw us more lands, hopefully. Yeah, they will be wannabe beetle. They said, I think they said with the M19 update, but don't quote me on that. This is a very easy take Flameblade Adept. No, it's a Moto problem. Wine is quality software, so Wine emulates all of the bugs that Magic Online has on Windows perfectly. No, if Magic Online memory leaking was a Wine issue, I'd just suck it up and stream from Windows. Well, I mean, what does my hand do now? What does my hand do now? I think there might be less bugs through Wine. It's funny. I actually have less bugs on my 3-monitor computer on Linux running Magic Online under Wine than I do on Windows. On Windows, I have a couple different bugs that Magic Online experiences while using 3 monitors. It is not a happy camper with multiple screens. Nope, Token is going to be the next deck we play after we finish this league, actually. Generally, I put the deck names in the stream title in the order we plan to play them. We need to hit a green source here so we can Maelstrom Pulse this. They're going to get to slam a Gurmag Angler this turn too, though, so we're probably just dead. This is the deck we lost to earlier. I don't think this matchup is strictly bad, but the opponent's deck is very good because when it's good, it's great. I have a half-day GPDR. That sounds exciting. The whole GPDR thing is so fucking frustrating. We just ended up deleting the user forums for one of the open source projects that I help maintain because nobody wanted to accept the liability for the user data. Just like it's not worth the risk to run a small open source online forum for like a $4 billion fine if you fuck something up. $4 million fine, sorry. Billions and millions are different. I think this is how I want to board. Maybe I want some of these Lilianas. Like if you have other sweepers, they're okay. Let's do... Nah, this is bad. Engineer Explosives is bad. So slow. Costs so much mana. Memory Leak sounds like a counterspell, right? So you can't just IP block the EU because if someone VP, from my understanding, we're responsible for user data if someone were to VPN into our services from the EU. So you can't even just IP block. You can't even just IP block the countries that it applies to. You basically, and that's why every company that manages online data is just treating everybody like they could be from the EU because they have to cover their ass. It's really fucking obnoxious. Like the fact that you're responsible for the information, even if it's so overreaching. It's such a great example of like a government really overreaching. Come on, baby. Daddy needs a 4/4. Let's go. Damn it, Bobby. Damn it. We're so unlucky. Just the gosh darned unluckiest. That being said, I have a 6/7 to play on turn 2, so your move, Yugi boy. This is what I got. Can you put this towards the green-white scales deck? 10 out of 10 Anonomic. That was how many? That was 1,500. Thank you for the bits. I appreciate it. Tarmogoyf's the big boy. Tarmogoyf's a big part of why this matchup isn't that bad for us, actually. Has he been hitting the gym, right? I think I'm going to start with Inquisition here before I decide what else I want to do. I'm going to ditch this Goblin Lore. I'm going to go ahead and Collective Brutality to kill this. Work for a Czech Republic-based company, and we developed and sell CMSs. We had to implement support. Yep. It's a huge nightmare. It's basically people creating laws that don't understand technology. They think they're helping people, but they're really just going to hurt small businesses. It's like it was really sad because like they have a looting in their hand, right? So I should surgical this other looting. That's probably good. Sorry, I was ranting about internet stuff. Good catch, chat. We should definitely surgical looting. I'm gonna surgical during their draw step in case they draw another looting. Yeah, sorry, it was really sad. Like the software project that I help maintain, I started it almost 8 years ago now, almost 7 years ago. And like the form we deleted like had 7 years worth of posts on it almost. But just like we can't have the data if nobody wanted to assume liability for being compliant with everything. So it's just like not worth potentially like losing everything I have in life over getting sued by someone who's obnoxious because of the EU regulations. I really hope some large company in the United States with lots of money for lawyers is not compliant with their bullshit and then they take them to court. That would be great. That would be ideal. Hopefully they take them to court and they fucking lose. Cast Down's in my deck, right? Yep. Cast Down's great. 2-mana removal spell. Kills Hollowed One. Kills Gurmag Angler. This hand's great. Fucking Burning Inquiry me. Do it. Do it! Pithy subversary phrase here. Thanks for the 21 months, Innocent Smith. I appreciate it. Welcome back. This is definitely getting Overgrown Tomb so we can cast these later. Please, RNGesus. I've been so good this year. Please. Please, please, please. Please. All I've ever wanted is 8 power on turn 0. All I've ever wanted is 8 power. It's not asking for a lot, right? It's not asking for a lot, right? And this is where this card is rancid, because like the actual result is we're gonna discard all 3 of our lands and not get to play Magic. I hate everything about this fucking deck. Hate actually everything fucking about it. It is so fucking miserable. It is the worst games of Magic that any deck in the history of Magic has ever fucking generated. That might not be true, that might be an extreme, but just like, fuck Hollowed One. Fuck everything about it. You can check off the rants on your cards there. It's funny, a couple of my buddies that like stopped playing Magic for a while, like really got back into Modern, and then Hollowed One became a popular deck and they all stopped playing again. Just like no desire to play this format. I'm actually, and this is actually part of the reason why like I haven't played tournament Magic in a long time, because like, you know, when matches like this happen on Magic Online, it's really not that big of a deal, right? Like in actuality, I'm not actually that upset. Like this match doesn't really have any significant meaning to me. Like we lose this match, I lose a couple of fun points. It's really not that big of a deal. It's just like, but like if I practiced a bunch and then like went to a tournament and like spent my entire weekend and just like had this shit happen, it would just be like, well, this was a waste of my weekend. Why did I do this? Why would I do this? So like playing in a low stakes situation like this, it's really mostly whatever. Like I think it's really not that big of a deal. But in like a tournament setting, like it's offensive and obnoxious, and we're just like very dead here, right? Like the entire game was decided by the fact that they kept their Hollowed One and we didn't discard ours. Like they just ditched double Flamewake Phoenix here, so I get to cast down this, but I'm getting hit for 8 this turn, down to 8, and I'm just gonna be dead long before I can do anything, because in addition to not discarding my Obstinate Baloth, Burning Inquiry fucking discarded 2 green sources. It got rid of 2 green sources. Like, that's so fucked. It's so fucked. Yeah, like, Modern is a format where there's so many obnoxious, degenerate things that are legal, but there are still people that'll climb up on their high horses and like, lecture you about how Stoneforge Mystic and Dig Through Time are too degenerate for Modern. Fuck everyone that thinks Dig Through Time and Stoneforge Mystic and Birthing Pod and Splinter Twin. You want to tell me those cards are too good for Modern, but Hollowed One gets to exist in this format? Storm gets to exist in this format? Like, these are all things that are obnoxious and powerful and frustrating to play against. And those are the reasons people cite for keeping cards like Dig and Pod and Twin, keeping those cards banned. Those are regularly the reasons people cite. And it's like, well, those things are already legal, so can I just like have all of my toys back? I really just want my toys to play with. I really just want to play with my toys. Everybody else gets to play with their toys. Can't I have the option to cast Birthing Pod on turn 2 and then die on their turn 3? All I want is the option to do that. I'm not even allowed to do that. I open treasure chests for a $2.50 donation. $2.50 donation gets your treasure chest open, because those treasure chests sell for actual dollars that turn into payments towards my mortgage. Unlike a lot of Magic players, I'm not a degenerate gambler, so I take the reasonable conservative EV. Does that qualify as a rant for YouTube? Was that too aggressive? I might have said fuck everyone, which comes off as a little aggressive. Okay, it was definitely a little aggressive. Alright, Jeskai tokens. Let's get some cards from traders and we'll be on our way. It's me on a daily basis against Valakut. I mean, at least Valakut doesn't make you discard cards out of your hand at random, right? At least it's got that going for it. For those of you that are at